Okay, so 7 minutes, 6 minutes now. I want to just show you real quickly the Babylonian number system so that you can see what it looked like. And we'll start to appreciate, I hope, my hope is throughout the semester we'll start to appreciate the shoulders that we built on. Okay, that's my whole entire goal for this semester. Well, the overarching goal is that by the time you're out of this class, you'll go, you know, we got it a lot better than those Babylonians did. You know, not only do we have, I don't know, Sonic and McDonald's, but we don't have to deal with cuneiform letters. So here we go. Babylonian cuneiform letters. I should say numbers, sorry. Okay. Actually, the Babylonians had a really pretty simple system. It's not bad. Gaston mentioned clay tablets, okay, writing in the clay, writing in wet clay, and the Babylonians are like the kings of that. So what they would do is they would basically make up a mud, a clay kind of thing, and they would make it into a big flat tablet, and then they would use a stylus, okay, so clay tablets and stylus. And by stylus, I don't mean the cool stylus that we use on our computer nowadays, right? These things looked more like a golf tee or a wedge, okay? So they ended up kind of like, this is the kind of device that you, not there. I'm a terrible 3D artist, sorry. You get the picture. Okay, so like this wedgy thing, and when I have a wedge and I don't have a nice pretty thing of ink to write with, that's a terrible picture. Y'all should shoot me for my artistic skill. It's horrible. Okay, what can I do when all I have is like a golf tee? Just like lines, right? That's all I can do. It's very hard to write with, and we don't have a lot of stuff. So what they had was 2 numbers that they used. 2 numbers, that's it. So for a 1, they kind of would just drag the stylus down, okay? So if it's a wedge-shaped stylus and it's wider at the top than at the bottom, then as I drag it down, the top is going to be bigger than the bottom is, right? So it ends up kind of looking like a triangle or something like that. In your book, they kind of draw it a little more artsy, a little more like that. So when you see something like that, that means 1 for them. Now, I have a tendency to maybe draw that little triangle-y thing like twice, and then I'll get really, really, really lazy, and I'll just say, we're just going to call it a stick. Okay, it's like a 1. And that makes sense to us because our 1 is, you know, their 1 was. Isn't that interesting that people just kind of go, oh, here's my tally, 1. And they start at the top and they pull it down, even way back when. That's kind of cool. I think it's kind of cool. And then 10, if I want to represent 10, T-E-N, what I'll do is I'll drag my stylus sideways and make a point, and then I'll work off of that point and I'll drag it sideways to meet it at that point, okay? So I lovingly refer to these as the Pac-Man, okay? Kind of looks like Pac-Man, or you could say it's a less than sign or something like that. So that's what they would do, choo-choo. And in the book, again, it kind of looks a little more artsy. Yeah, I'm not an artist, so it looks a little more stylized. When I get lazy, I will do this. I'll make a less than sign, basically. Okay, and I always tell all my students, if I'm lazy about it, you're welcome to be lazy about it, okay? If I'm very particular about it, I'll tell you I'm really particular about this, and I'll tell you those things. But we will do like that. It's fine. Yes?
Why would they stop at 1 and 10 instead and use a 60-base system?
I don't know. They think, the theory is that it was based on harvesting cycles. So they felt like it was a 60-day period, like maybe you plant and it's 60 days before it starts growing really well, and then it's 60 days before it's ready for harvest, and then 60 days before the flood, I don't know. But the theory is that it's based off of a lunar cycle, and they thought that it was a 2-month lunar cycle, and so it would be 60 days. So that's the theory.
They also are the ones that invented the 360-degree circle ring?
Yes, so 360 degrees is nicely divisible by 60, right? So we actually start thinking, look at our current stuff. Why do we have 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, that kind of thing, but yet it's 24 hours in a day? You know, so it's these weird little things that come out. And part of that is believed that the base 60 thing goes all the way back to the Babylonians, absolutely. So, kind of some cool stuff going on in there that's, why do we do it that way, you know? Why didn't we just take, okay, the sun came up this time, that's 24 hours, okay, and then just divide that by whatever. But instead we made 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour. Interesting. All right, so those two are basic, guys, and so if I want to, I'll talk about zero next class period, because they did eventually come up with something for zero, but the very, very early people didn't. So if I wanted to draw something for you, and I did this, what do you think about that?
So I guess it's like the ones places, or the 60s places, there are 30 60s and 52 ones, maybe?
Okay,
Or
so,
backwards, I don't know.
yeah, so normally we would start on the right-hand side, just like we do now for our lowest base position, okay, place value. So these would normally be my ones, these would normally be my 60s. So what I'm telling you here is I have 52 ones and I have 30 60s, right? So you can see this is a little bit confusing because first of all we have to all agree on the convention that my smallest place value is going to be on the right hand side, okay? And then we have to say, well, what's going on here with this gap? Is it really 3 and 52, or what if I had kind of made them more like that? I know it's not going to be, what is that, 82, because I'm in base 60, right? So I couldn't possibly have 82 of something, because when I get to 60, I'll go to the next place value. So then it's like, well, did she mean to leave a gap here? Okay, if there was a 1 in there, it would be more obvious, right? This would be 31 and that would be 52, but it's not always obvious like that, so it's not always easy to see what the heck is going on here. And so you just kind of you have this, a lot of times, clay tablet that is thousands of years old, and we're trying to decipher it, looking back through an eye of modern civilization going, what are they trying to tell me? You know, so sometimes we say, well, we think they did this, but we're just not sure. You know, if there's no gap in there, if there's no 0, which we'll talk about later, and if there's no 1, then who knows where that was? Maybe what she was trying to tell us was there are 40 and 42 if I didn't put a good spacing in there, okay? So some of these stuff can be very difficult to analyze, and that's what we'll get to later a little bit. Okay, I believe that's my time. I think I'm out. So what I want to do, we're not ready to do homework problems yet, but you can do an introductory project for me. Yay, might as well get a project grade in there. I want you to shoot me an email. Normally I would pass out a paper with introductory, information and all that, but instead I'm just going to do it as an email. I'd like to make sure all of you can find my email address and actually can communicate with me, just in case you're not always in front of me. So I want your name. Let's go ahead and do the major thing that we did before, and you can include minors and stuff like that. I want to know if there's anything special about you, and by that, I don't necessarily mean, well, my mama loves me. I don't mean that. I mean things that might affect your attendance in class, or If you have a medical issue that might pop up in class, I had a guy who was diabetic and he was like type 1, really serious, and he was like, I have to check my blood sugar every hour and this and that. So, or if you're 8 months pregnant, or, you know, things like that. So if there's anything like that about you I need to know, then feel free to share. If there's not, you can just say nothing special and go on. And then tell me your future plans. I just want to know. When you grow up, when you're no longer an A&M Commerce student, because some of you are getting close, what do you want to do? What's your plan? That's what I want to know. If you want to be a teacher, then kind of give me a little bit of information about that, because I was a teacher in public school, so I kind of have an affinity for those people. All right, that's it. We're out of time. I'm over. I'm sorry. I apologize. I won't always keep you late. Have a lovely week. I'll see you Thursday. If you have anything you need from me, let me know. Just got back on. Awesome. Take care, guys.